No.
So you've got lots of people wondering, why am I still single when I see my friends and other church members getting married that are younger than I am in a lot of cases.
You got a couple options. It could be that, and this is rare, but it could be that Yahweh has planned for you not to be married.
Yeah, you can't throw that off the table.
Yeah, he might have you plan to do something else. He told Jeremiah not to get married. Mm-hmm. So it happens.
Yeah, I'd also say that you definitely want Yahweh's timing around your marriage. You don't want to press into something that's not his will, even to the point of pressing into something that might be his will, but it's just not time yet. And sometimes the father needs a certain level of maturity before he lets people get married. I've seen that in personal experience, that there's like the growth of maturity, and then the person comes along to ask for the girl, or then the guy suddenly meets the woman that he's going to marry. It seems like focusing on that relationship with the Father, focusing on your spiritual walk, actually opens up more opportunities for Yahweh to bring that person along. If you're going, I want to get married, if your focus is on that, it can actually become an idol. It's not don't say that lightly, but it can actually become an idol when you place that ahead of your relationship with the Father.
Yeah, and a biblical example of jumping the gun, so to speak, would be the children of Israel, when he told them after they received the bad word from the spies, he said, you're going to go into the wilderness for 40 years. And they're like, no, we'll go in now. And of course, they knew the promise. They knew the promise was to have that specific land and these things, but they're now trying to
do it 40 years.
Do it 40 years early, and it caused problems. So, definitely, even if you know somehow that you're going to get married, and you might even know who you're going to marry, you still need to wait for the right timing.
It's also not a not a good idea to just dwell on one person in your mind. It's one thing to pray about a person. When you're talking to Yahweh, there's just something about it. It's kind of hard to stray off the straight and narrow while you're in the middle of praying. Probably why we're supposed to pray without ceasing. But it's quite another to dwell on one person in your mind, to start thinking that you know who you're going to marry based and have those feelings. Even if you keep them internal, even if you never talk to the other person about them, they're still damaging. They're damaging to you.
Right. I'm aware of a few situations where young women became infatuated with young men, and the young man was not doing anything wrong, and he gets betrothed and married, and it devastated these young women, and because they in their minds were in a relationship with him, and he's completely innocent in all this, knows nothing about it,
right?
And so it can be devastating. The young men are different because they're actually traditionally the initiators of the process. I think if a young woman is praying about a specific man that hasn't asked for her, she shouldn't be praying about that specific man. I think she should be more open-minded, and because just to until he approaches, what is she to do? Practically speaking, unless, she's going to go to her dad and say, hey, go ask for this guy for me, which...
It seems like it really throws the picture on its head.
Yeah, it throws the picture on its head. So I would recommend that the young women don't think of any specific people, even in prayer.
There's actually, in these circles that I'm aware of, and I know quite a few, there's actually a lot of guys getting refused by the father-in-law, to the point that I went around one time. I think that on average, a lot of the guys that I know, married and unmarried, have been refused twice apiece.
Yeah, I know a lot of guys that have been refused twice.
So that either shows that these young men are jumping the gun and they're asking before they get the father's timing straight or before they get the father's leading on the right person. Or it shows that some of these fathers-in-laws have standards that are impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe a little of both.
Yeah, you do have to keep in mind, though, even on some of these refusals, that there can be growth from asking and being refused. So even the father may tell you, hey, go ask for this girl, when he intends for you to be turned down for your growth. Just like he told Jeremiah to offer wine to the Rechabites, even though he wanted them to turn it down.
And you have, and that's hard to understand. Of course, we're not looking at the situation from the Almighty's point of view, and so he sees everything. He's working all things together for good.
Yeah.
And we don't, when you're in the midst of something, you don't see it. So like in the book of Judges, it talks about all the tribes of Israel went to war with the tribe of Benjamin. And the tribes of Israel asked Yahweh like 2 or 3 times, should we go to battle with our brother Benjamin? And every time he's like, yeah. And they lost every time, And then finally, you're going to win this time. And so they finally did win. But the thing is, sometimes Yahweh tells us to do things knowing that we're going to fail.
Yeah.
And it's for our own good.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Make sure to leave comments on the video with any questions you might want us to maybe address in future videos. Remember to like, subscribe, and tap that bell button so you get alerted to future videos we put on.